Today we're going to be looking at converting between fractions, decimals and percentages, and all of these are going to be calculator based. So to take part in the tasks here you will need a calculator. So let's look at an example first. Let's say we had the fraction 21 over 100 and we want to convert this into a decimal and a percentage. Well, to convert it into a decimal, we've got to think about what this fraction actually means. Fractions represent a division, so this means 21 divided by 100. So using your calculator you can simply put that in, 21 divided by 100, so in a fraction top divided by bottom, and you will get 0.21. Okay, so fractions technically mean they are divisions, so 21 divided by 100 will give you 0.21 in your calculator. And once we've changed a fraction into a decimal, to then convert a decimal into a percentage, we simply multiply that by 100. So you take your decimal and you times it by 100. And remember, when you are timesing by 100, in this case you can use a calculator, but moving everything 2 places to the left to multiply by 100. So your tenths will become tens, and your 100s will become units to get 21%. So fraction into a decimal, you simply do the calculation, 21 divided by 100. To then change your decimal into a percentage, you multiply by 100. Let's look at a second example. So this time we have a fraction as 8 over 25. So we want to change that into a decimal first by doing the calculation, 8 divided by 25, which is top divided by bottom, to get 0.32. And once we've got that decimal, we can then change that into a percentage by multiplying by 100. So decimal times it by 100 to get into a percentage, to get 32%. You make sure that you are copying these examples down as we go through. If you need to go back and pause to copy them down, that's absolutely fine. And make sure you're copying these rules down as well. Okay, next one. Let's start with fraction 2 over 5. So we are going to do 2 divided by 5, because that's what the fraction actually means. Top divided by bottom to give us 0.4. And it is important that you're thinking about this as multiplying by 100. Okay, this is not 4%. Okay, multiply it by 100 to get 40%. Okay, so to change a decimal into a percentage, you multiply by 100. Okay, so after those 3 examples, can you please do the following? So use the calculator to convert each fraction to a decimal and then into a percentage. So if you pause here, copy out this table and give these a go. Okay, so first one, 7 over 10. So you can use your calculator to do 7 divided by 10 to get 0.7, and then multiply that by 100 to get 70%. Second one, 17 over 25. So you do 17 divided by 25 to get 0.68. Multiply that by 100 to get 68%. Then 9 over 20. So you're going to do 9 divided by 20 to get 0.45. Then multiply that by 100 to get 45%. Next, 3 over 5. So 3 divided by 5 to get 0.6. And then multiply by 100 to get 60%. 32 over 40, so you're going to do 32 divided by 40 to get 0.8, multiply that by 100 to get 80%, and last one, 6 over 200, so in your calculator you do 6 divided by 200 to get 0.03, and multiply that by 100 to get 3%. So really great work if you got all of those correct. Okay. Let's look at some examples where we're not starting with a fraction. This time we're going to start with a decimal. We need to think about what steps we need to take to convert it into a percentage and also into a fraction. So we know how to go from a decimal to a percentage, so let's start with that one. So to go from a decimal to a percentage, we're going to multiply by 100 to get 7%. Now we need to think about how we're going to work back to get a percentage into a fraction. Okay, something we need to know about percentages is that they are always out of 100. So it's 7% because the highest percentage you can get is 100%. So percentages are out of 100. So to change a percentage into a fraction, you're just going to write your percentage as a fraction over 100. And then you need to simplify if necessary. So we're just going to write our percentage as a fraction over 100, because this is 7 out of 100. And then if needed, simplify your fraction. Always make sure your fractions are fully simplified. In this case, 7 over 100 is fully simplified, we can't do anything else. So we've taken a step, starting from a decimal, change it into a percentage because we already know how to do that. Then we're taking a percentage and writing it as a fraction over 100 to change it into a fraction. And always remember to simplify if needed. Okay, second example. This time we are starting from our percentage. So if we use our previous skill in the last example to go from a percentage to a fraction, we are simply going to write that percentage as a fraction over 100. Okay, so we've got 42 over 100, both even numbers, so we know we can always divide by 2. So 100 divided by 2 is 50, 42 divided by 2 is 21. And that is it, fully simplified, we can't go any further. So 42% as a fraction is 21 over 50. So we've written it as a fraction over 100 and simplified. Now we can go one of two ways. We can go from a fraction to a decimal by using our calculator to do 21 divided by 50 to give us 0.42. Or to go from a decimal to percentage, we multiply by 100. So how do you think we go from a percentage to a decimal, which is backwards? Well, if we're multiplying by 100 to get our percentage, to go from a percentage to a decimal, you can divide by 100. So 42 divided by 100 gives us 0.42, or you could have went from the fraction doing your division. So make sure you've got all of these copied down, especially these arrows that's telling you what's happening at each stage. Because in the next slide, I'm going to give you some to try yourself. So again, can you convert each of these into fractions, decimals and percentages? Okay, you're going to need those previous two examples to help you do this. So pause here and convert them. Okay, hopefully I've unpaused now and given them a go. So first one, we have 36%. We're going to start by changing this into a fraction. So you would do 36 over 100. So you would write it as, let me see, 36 over 100. And then simplify top and bottom by dividing by 4 to get your 9 over 25. Once we've done that, you could have either divided your percentage by 100 to get 0.36 or done 9 divided by 25. Whatever step you took, that's absolutely fine. So next one, we're starting with a decimal, 0.24. Easiest way to start here is definitely going to a percentage first. So 0.24 as a percentage, times it by 100 to get 24%. And once we've got that, we're going to write 24 over 100 as a fraction and simplify that to get 6 over 25. And then next one, we're starting from a fraction. So using your calculator, we're going to go straight in and do 18 divided by 25 to get 0.72. And then multiply that by 100 to get 72%. Okay, next one, starting from a decimal, 0.35. If we multiply that by 100 to give us our percentage first, and then we're going to write our percentage over 100 to find our fraction. So 35 over 100, and then simplify that down, dividing by 5 to give us 7 over 20. And next one, 84%. So first step, changing that into a fraction by writing it as a fraction over 100. and then simplifying that to 21 over 25 by dividing top and bottom by 4. Okay, so to get this into a decimal, you could either divide your 84 by 100 or do 21 divided by 25 to get 0.84. And last one, using your calculator, straight in 11 divided by 20 to give us 0.55, and then multiply by 100 to get 55%. So that was quite tricky. Really well done if you got all of those correct. If you have managed to get some of these fractions that I've written down at the side, if you've got these as your answers, okay, that is a really good step, but you need to be making sure that you're fully simplifying them as well. Okay, so you might be thinking, why do we need to convert between fractions, decimals and percentages? It comes in really handy, especially converting fractions to percentages for things like your test scores. So if you were to do your test in maths, let's say, so out of 60, you got 45, how do you know what percentage you got? Okay, so let's look at this example on applying converting fractions to percentages. So Tom has taken some tests at school, and we're going to rank his test marks from highest to lowest. As you can see, each test is out of a different score. Okay, it might look like he's performed better in physics than he has in art because he's got 52 here, so we've got 21, but it's out of a different total. Okay, so we need to, the easiest way to compare these fractions is to convert it to a percentage. Okay, we know now how to convert fractions to percentages. So let's look at converting art first. This fraction is 21 over 30. So to convert that to a percentage, we're going to do 21 divided by 30 and then times it by 100 to get 70%. And then for maths, we're going to do 45 divided by 60 times it by 100 to get 75%. For physics, 52 divided by 65 times it by 100 to get it into a percentage is 80%. And last one, 42 divided by 70 times it by 100 to give us 60%. Now it's much easier to see where Tom has performed better by looking at his percentages rather than trying to compare a fraction. So now we can list them from highest to lowest with physics, maths, art and then French. So we'll make sure you've got that example copied down, especially knowing to go from a fraction to a percentage by doing the division and then timesing it by 100.